Good day. I welcome you all at the lecture on Fundamentals of Building Materials under the subject of Introduction to Civil Engineering, and the related subject code is CEHS 302 and the module number is 5. Myself Sandeepan Saha, Assistant Professor for the Department of Civil Engineering of Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management under JIS Group. Let us first have some idea on the building materials or construction materials and what actually it is. Building or construction materials include manufactured products such as components, fittings, items of equipment and systems, naturally occurring materials such as stone, timber and thatch, and backfilling for excavations in connection with building works. The building material affects the vision of a structure as it deals with the appearance related qualities of the structure. It also impacts the durability of the structure. Naturally, building materials have been an important part of the architectural symbolism. Basically, the use of various building or construction materials is very old. It started thousands of years ago. Ancient Egypt experienced the applications of various construction materials in pyramids and in different monuments, and in other so-called ancient civilizations like the Babylonians, Romans, etc. As the time moves on, not only the technology involved in the application of various construction materials has been improved and evolved over the ages, but also the importance of construction materials remains the same. We have divided the entire lecture on the fundamentals of construction materials into several parts. The second part deals with the following topics. That means what we are going to cover in this lecture, and those are introduction to properties and application of cement, introduction to properties and application of mortar, and introduction to properties and application of paint. Now let us proceed to the detailed lecture. Probably the most important construction material is cement. Cement is a powdery substance made by calcining lime and clay, and it is mixed with water to form mortar, or it is mixed with sand, gravel and water to make concrete. Basically, cement is a binder material that sets and hardens independently, and it can bind other materials together with lime and clay, and mixed with water becomes cement. In order to apply cement for various construction purposes, cement should possess certain qualities. That is, cement should not possess alumina, which may reduce its strength. Cement should not contain alumina in excess, as it weakens the cement. A very small amount of sulfur is added in cement to make cement sound. Cement should be found cool when it is touched by hand. Cement should be in fine powdery form while checking with first finger and thumb. So the main question is why cement is important, and the answer is that it gives excellent strength to the brick masonry. Cement is an excellent binding material and it is easily workable. Cement offers good resistance to the moisture. Cement possesses a good plasticity. Cement also stiffens or hardens early. Based on this discussion, it is clear that cement is very much important for various construction purposes. But it is also important to have an idea of the composition of cement. This table deals with the details of various constituents of cement, and those details are as follows. The major constituents of cement are: number 1 is lime, that is CaO. Number 2 is silica, that is SiO2. Number 3 is alumina, that is Al2O3. Number 4 is calcium sulfate, that is CaSO4. Number 5 is iron oxide, that is Fe2O3. Number 6 is magnesia, that is MgO. Number 7 is sulfur, that is S. And number 8 is alkalis. the desirable content of lime in cement is in between 62 and 67%, whereas for silica, the desirable content is around 17 to 25%. In case of alumina, the desirable content in cement is 3 to 8%. And in case of calcium sulfate, the desirable content in cement is around 3 to 4%. In case of iron oxide, the desirable content in cement is around 3 to 4%, whereas for magnesia, the desirable content in cement is around 0.1 to 3%. In case of sulfur, the desirable content in cement is around 1 to 3%. And in case of alkalis, the desirable content in cement is in between 0.2 and 1%. We have seen that cement in general is composed of certain number of constituents. Each constituent has its own purpose and application towards the functionality of cement. So let us have a discussion on the purpose of each constituent. Lime takes up 60% of cement content. Its proportion should be carefully measured as it deals with the setting property of cement. Silica provides the strength due to formation of dicalcium and tricalcium silicates, whereas alumina imparts quick setting property and it acts as a flux. It also lowers the clinkering temperature of cement. Calcium sulfate basically present in cement in the form of gypsum, and it increases the initial setting of cement. Iron oxide content is responsible for the color, hardness and strength of cement, whereas if magnesia is present in small amount, then it imparts hardness and color of the cement. And in case of sulfur content, it is used for making sound cement, and alkalis are usually carried away by flue gases during heating process. From this discussion, it is clear that each constituent has its own purpose, but at the same time, proper content of each constituent is also very important, failing to which can cause problem on the overall performance of the cement. If lime is found in excess of its natural content, then it can cause unsoundness, expansion and disintegration of the cement. If silica is found in excess of its natural content, then it can increase the strength of cement, but at the same time, it can affect the setting time. That is, setting time can be prolonged because of excess silica content in cement. If alumina is found to be in excess of its natural content, then it can weaken the cement by lowering the temperature. If magnesia is found to be in excess of its natural content, then it can make the cement unsound, whereas if sulfur is found to be in excess of its natural content, it can affect the cement by making it unsound. If the alkali content is found to be in excess of its natural content, then it can cause alkali aggregate reaction, efflorescence and staining in cement. So from this discussion, it is clear that each constituent is very much important for the overall performance and functionality of the cement. Now let us have a look at the different types of cement that we use in various construction purpose. The first type of cement is ordinary Portland cement, that is OPC. This is the most commonly used type of cement, which is basically an ingredient of concrete, mortar and most non-specialty grout. The next important type of cement is rapid hardening Portland cement, that is RHPC. Basically, this cement is more finely ground than the OPC and its strain gain ability is relatively faster than OPC. They also sets faster than OPC. The next important type of cement is Portland Pozzolana cement, that is PPC. PPC is a low heating cement containing a defined percentage of natural or artificial pozzolana. Pozzolana basically is a siliceous and aluminous material which is derived from one of the primary deposits of volcanic ash. The next is white cement. It is a form of OPC consisting of a little pozzolana and gypsum, due to which it has a comparatively smaller setting time. White cement is used for finishing purposes and for sealing purposes. It is also applied in decoration patterns. The next important type of cement is Portland blast furnace slag cement, that is PBFSC. Basically, Portland blast furnace slag cement is an intimate mixture of finely ground cement clinker and blast furnace slag to which a little gypsum is added to retard and adjust the setting time of the cement. By using the Portland blast furnace slag cement, we have the following advantages. That is, it improves the overall workability of the concrete and it enhances the finishing ability. It also imparts higher resistance to aggressive chemicals and it has got increased compressive and flexural strengths. The next important type of cement is sulfate resistant cement, that is SRC. Sulfate resistant cement is generally used to protect a structure from sulfate attack. Basically, this sulfate reacts chemically with hydrated lime and hydrated aluminates, which are composed in a cement, and it may cause rapid disintegration in a concrete structure. The next important type of cement is quick setting Portland cement, that is QSPC. Basically, quick setting Portland cement sets much faster than OPC and RHPC. OPC means ordinary Portland cement and RHPC means rapid hardening Portland cement. So, quick setting Portland cement sets much faster than OPC and RHPC because this QSPC has a lesser amount of gypsum content and therefore its initial setting time is only 5 minutes and its final setting time is only 30 minutes. From this discussion, it is clear that there are different types of cements that are available for various kinds of construction purpose. Basically, cement is used widely for the construction of various structures, as cement slurry is used for filling cracks in concrete structures. Cement mortar is used for masonry work, plastering and pointing. Cement concrete is used for the construction of various structures like buildings, bridges, water tanks, tunnels, docks, harbour, etc. Cement is also used to manufacture lampposts, telephone posts, railway sleepers, piles, etc. Cement is also responsible for manufacturing of cement pipes, garden seats, dustbins, flower pots, etc. Cement is also useful for the construction of roads, footpaths, courts for various sports, etc. Storage has been an important issue for the quality assurance of cement. Cement, the primary ingredient of cementitious screed, is a quality assured manufactured product. But being chemically reactive with water, it has to be stored, transported and handled very carefully in order to preserve its quality and avoid its wastage. Cement is highly sensitive to moisture and it hardens to form clumps when exposed to water or dampness. While storing cement bags at the site, it is very much important that they are kept protected from wetness and as well as dampness. Here, wetness means rain, flooding, leakages, etc. and dampness means presence of moisture in the air. In this regard, the cement bags should be stored in a dry and enclosed structure. protected from rains and moisture, and the stacked cement bags should be kept covered with waterproof sheets or tarpaulin. And another important construction material is mortar. Basically, mortar is used to hold various building materials such as brick or stone together. Mortar is composed of a thick mixture of water, sand, and cement. Here, the water is used to hydrate the cement and to hold the mix together. The water to cement ratio is higher in mortar than in concrete in order to form its bonding element. When mixed, the mortar becomes a much thicker substance than the concrete, making it ideal as a glue for building materials like brick. There are different types of mortars are available for various construction purposes. So the types of mortars are: number 1 is cement mortar, number 2 is lime mortar, number 3 is gauged mortar, number 4 is surkhi mortar, and number 5 is mud mortar. Cement mortar is a type of mortar where cement is used as binding material and sand is used as fine aggregate. Depending upon the desired strength, the cement to the sand proportion of the cement mortar varies in between 1:2 and 1:6. Lime mortar is a type of mortar where either fat lime or hydraulic lime is used as a binding material and sand is used as a fine aggregate. The lime to the sand proportion of the cement mortar is kept 1:2. The pyramids at Giza are plastered with the application of lime mortar. Gauged mortar is a type of mortar where cement and lime both are used as binding material and sand is used as the fine aggregate. Basically, it is a lime mortar where cement is added to gain or achieve higher strength. This process is known as the gauging. The cement to the lime proportion varies in between 1:6 and 1:9. Basically, gauged mortar is economical than cement concrete and also possesses higher strength than the lime mortar. Surkhi mortar is a type of mortar where lime is used as the binding material and surkhi is used as the fine aggregate. Surkhi mortar is economic. And in case of mud mortar, it is a type of mortar where mud is used as the binding material and sawdust, rice husk, or cow dung is used as the fine aggregate. Mud mortar is useful where lime or cement is not available. From this discussion, it is clear that there are different types of mortars are available for different types of construction works. But in order to apply mortar effectively, a mortar should have certain qualities, and those are as follows. That is, the mortar should have good adhesion with bricks, stones, etc. The mortar should resist penetration of rainwater. The mortar should be cheap, durable, and workable. The mortar should set quickly. And most importantly, the joints formed by the mortar should not develop any cracks. From this discussion, it is clear that mortar can be used for various construction works, and those are as follows. That is, mortar is used to bind together the bricks or stones in brick or stone masonry. Mortar is used to give a soft, even bed between different layers of brick or stone masonry for equal distribution of pressure over the bed. Mortar is used to fill up the spaces between bricks or stones for making walls tight. Mortar is also used in concrete as a matrix. Mortar can also be used in plastering works to hide the joints and to improve appearance. Mortar is also used for molding and ornamental purpose. So, from this overall discussion, it is clear that how important mortar is. Paint has been a major construction material over the ages. Basically, paint is used to protect all sorts of buildings and structures from the ill effects of water and sun. Wooden buildings, such as houses, are usually painted because a coat of paint prevents water seeping into the wood and making it rot. The paint also helps to prevent the wood from drying out in the hot sun. So, by definition, paint is a liquid solution of pigment and solvent which is applied on different surfaces for decorative or protective reasons. Paint can also be defined as dispersion of pigment in a suitable drying oil in the presence of a solvent, whereas pigment means coloring material and solvent means paint thinner. It is very obvious that paint is an important construction material, but in order to apply paint effectively, paint should have certain good qualities, and those qualities are as follows. The first important quality of a good paint should be good hiding power. That means the paint should be capable of covering the existing surface of material uniformly and thoroughly. The next important quality of paint is color. After the paint is used on the outer surfaces, they are exposed to the atmosphere. Due to the exposure to the atmosphere, it may be affected by the rain or various types of radiation from the sunlight, which will cause bad effects on its color. Therefore, good paints must maintain its color under all these conditions or in any other circumstances. Resistance is another important quality for the effectiveness of a good paint. That means paints should be chemically inert to the atmosphere. This is essential if it has to protect the underlying surface of a metal. The paints applied on a surface should dry within the span of 24 hours. The paint should neither crack nor shrink after drying. Easy application of paints is very necessary. That means they might have to be used over wide surface areas. It is therefore necessary that it should be of such a nature that can be sprayed easily, smoothly, and uniformly. Economical aspect is another important issue for the effectiveness of a paint. In this scenario, the types of paint should be selected according to the construction, and its cost should be as low as possible. It is advisable that the costly paints should not be used in common constructions. There are different types of paints available for various applications, such as aluminum paint, cement paint, asbestos paint, bituminous paint, emulsion paint, oil paint, plastic paint, synthetic rubber, etc. Paints are prepared by intimately mixing various components in proper proportions. Let's have a discussion on those essential components. The first important component is vehicle, which is dried on exposure to air. Hence, it is also called a drying oil. Such oil is unsaturated in composition, but on exposure to air, it gets saturated, and because of this, it dries out. The drying oil or the vehicle has the capacity to keep the pigment and the other components of paint within the suspension or solution. These ingredients get deposited in the film made by the drying oil on the surface of an object. The most commonly used vehicle or drying oil is linseed oil, dehydrated castor oil, bleached oil, and fish oil. Dryers are those substances which are added to drying oils to accelerate the rate of drying. They act as catalyst in the oxidation process of the drying oils. The linolete, resonates, and naphthalene of metals like lead, magnesium, and vanadium are commonly used dryers. Base is another important component of the paint. Basically, base is a solid substance that forms the body of the paint. It consists of a very fine powder of a suitable material such as white lead, red lead, iron oxide, and titanium oxide, etc. The base material makes the paint film harder, stronger, elastic, and safe against cracking and moisture. It makes the paint stable against the ultraviolet rays as well. Pigment is another important component of the paint. Basically, pigment is a coloring material which is added to the previously mentioned components in order to impart a desired shade and color. Pigment is added in a finely powdered state. Solvents are one of the most important components of the paint. Solvents are also called paint thinner, as it reduces the viscosity of the paints to a great extent. Solvents are added to paints in order to make its application easy, smooth, and uniform. Petroleum, spirits, turpentine, and coal tar hydrocarbons are some of the commonly used solvents or paint thinner. Extender is another important component of the paint. They are also called the fillers. Basically, a filler is a substance which can be added to paints to increase its bulk volume without affecting the useful properties of the paint. These materials, that means the fillers, are necessarily inert towards other components of the paint. The commonly used extenders are chalk, gypsum, barite, silica, and magnesium silicate. In this lecture, we have covered certain aspects of various construction materials. In the next part, we will focus on some other construction materials. Thank you.